y'all. So let's talk about the difference between eligible and entitled. And so, as soon as I landed on this topic, I thought about my 12-year-old and how she's always like, I can't wait till I'm 16 and I can drive. And I tell her all the time, 16 might mean that you can drive, but you're not entitled to being able to drive when you turn 16. You have to make yourself eligible to get behind the wheel. So you have to get your learner's permit, study for that permit before you get it. You have to take that written test. You have to pass that written test. Then you have to have that written or that learner's permit for a specific amount of time where you're practicing your driving skills so that you're eligible to even take the driving test. And then you have to take the driving test and actually pass the driving test before they will give you a license. So you're not entitled to being able to drive. You have to make yourself eligible for that thing. And won't that happen in life too? Oftentimes we think that, I'm deserving of this thing, right? And sometimes we are. Sometimes we have put in the hours of being in toxic relationships and we feel like we deserve somebody who's good. Sometimes we've had a lifetime of a parent who just isn't the type of parent that we feel like would have suited us, right? And so we feel like, I just wish that I had this other type of mom. And so oftentimes we think because I'm deserving of that thing, then I'm entitled to that thing. And I think about this very often when it comes to relationships, right? So you know that I've told you stories over and over again about the toxic relationships that I was in. And I remember being in a space of victimhood and saying, I'm a good person and I deserve to have a good partner. And while that may have been true, was I actually making myself eligible to be in a relationship with someone who was a good partner and also be a good partner? Because the reality of the situation is, if I had always been in toxic relationships, then the skills that I gained were how to navigate inside of those toxic relationships, how to be a partner to a toxic partner. But had I actually learned how to be a partner who was um, healthy inside of a relationship with another healthy partner? And I didn't know the answer to that because I had never been in that space. But what I found is that in an effort to know that I was ready for that thing, instead of just thinking I was entitled to it when it walked up to me, I had to prepare myself to be eligible for that thing when it walked in front of me. Because what I know about a good man is that a good man is going to look for those attributes that he sees in a woman. And he's not going to look for the woman who's posting thirst traps and like all of these other things, but he's going to look, especially a man who is about his spiritual relationship with God. He's going to look for a woman who exudes the light. He's going to look for that. And if you aren't doing that, then are you really entitled to that thing? Are you really deserving of that thing? And I know that's hard to hear because it's like, well, and I used to say this all the time, like, I'm in my late 30s and I haven't been married. Like, I'm deserving of a husband. Yeah, well, you're also deserving of picking somebody who isn't toxic. But because you don't know how to navigate in that space, you're too afraid to make yourself eligible for a healthy relationship because on the off chance that you are eligible and you are shining that light, somebody who's good might find you and you don't know if you're ready to deal with that relationship. And so, what do we need to think about when we're thinking about the fact that we're not entitled to things and our job is to make ourselves eligible for those things? It's just like if you were going for a promotion, right? You're not going to be like, okay, I applied for it, I'm entitled to it. You're going to make sure that you have the qualifications that make you eligible for that thing. Even if God grabs a hold of it and produces a miracle, your job is to be obedient and become who it is that you want to be. And so the first thing is to really latch on to the fact that you're not just entitled to anything. None of us are entitled to anything. We're not entitled to ever be married. Like I had to grasp onto that. Yes, I want to be a wife, but I'm not entitled to that life. Like if God chooses for me to navigate this world without being a wife, then his plan for my life is that, and I have to be okay with that. I'm not entitled to anything. And we're not. Nothing is just ours because we draw breath and take life except for him. And so if he wants us to have it, he absolutely will give it to us. And you have to grow and become the person who is eligible for that thing. If you wanted a promotion and that promotion required you to get a special cert, you'd go get that cert. If you want to be in a healthy relationship and that requires you to let go of some of your ego, you're going to sit in a space where you're letting go of some of that ego. And that's not to say that you have to be perfect to be eligible. It's to say that what you're expecting is also what you should be reflecting. And so if you want that from someone else, then you better be doing it yourself. If you want emotional intelligence, then you better gain some for yourself. If you want somebody who's gentle, then you better be gentle yourself. If you want somebody who's loving and knows their quirks and is dealing with those things, then you better be doing that too, right? And so you have to grow and become who you want to be and need to be in order for you to be eligible for that thing. And you have to be what you want to portray. So who do I want the world to see me as? Who do I want to, and that's not on some fake stuff. That's not on some put a smile on your face and walk out here and pretend to be something. It's who do I want to be in this world? And how am I creating that person inside of me? Who do I want to be in this world? And how am I unshouldering all of the things that I'm holding on to that are restricting me from being that? And then you have to align yourself with who you're seeking. So if you're out here with friends who are doing things that aren't in alignment with who you are, you don't think somebody's going to judge you off of that. It's the same reason why an employer would go to your social media and check out what you're doing in the real world before they would hire you. Like, it's so funny to me how people are like shocked when these teachers who have OnlyFans accounts are fired and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that that person had an OnlyFans account. But here's the thing, not everybody who has a position is eligible for that position, because when you're a teacher and you're in that seat, you're a role model. And it's not just between the hours of 7 and 3. It's all the time. When you're the president of the United States, when you're a person who has a government or an official position, it's not just when you're on, it's all the time that you have to be somebody who's eligible to hold that position. And so if you're out here doing things and hanging around with people and associating with people who aren't in alignment with the person that you're seeking to be, you best believe that that thing that you're trying to be eligible to receive is going to look at that and use it as data. So if you want a good partner, practice being one. If you want that good job, make sure you're doing the things that make you eligible for that good job. If you want for your kids to respect you, try respecting them first. Like, don't just think you're entitled to all of these things. Become eligible to receive that. Because once you do, I can promise you this, once you work on those things that you know are going to take you to the next version of you that you want to be, that are going to make you eligible for elevation, those things will start to be attracted to you. So today, I just encourage you to look at the person that you are in the mirror. Decide if you're reflecting what you're expecting from other people. Decide if you're just acting as if you're entitled to something without making yourself eligible for it. And go out there and make the changes and become exactly who you're supposed to be in this world. Thank you for listening. Remember to look me up on all social media sites. And if you're navigating your journey to peace, go ahead and click the link below to download a free PDF as a checklist to help you navigate that journey. Remember that you can go to my website, KaraNicole.com, and you can get my blog every Wednesday. And if you need help navigating your journey, as always, you can reach out to me on social media, send me a DM, and I'd love to help you with your journey. If you're a podcast listener or you are liking me on all the socials, please subscribe, share with your friends so that you can get the word out to them so they can hear messages just like this. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again next week.